ride like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more. Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH.
Mr. H wants you in it.
Follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? I'm in a race that everybody's chasing fast. They wanna be that someone on the screen at last. They ain't looking inside for their needs in life. They wanna be like by everybody in sight. But trust me, being free ain't spotlights. No, it's long nights and it's long fights with yourself all the time to get your mind right. But if you put in the work, you can find the light, alright? I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more.
And hello, warm welcome to episode number 90. Quite crazy, actually, to be fair. Thank you. Of your favorite podcast, the Hcast. Hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. We call the day after Christmas in the UK Boxing Day. I don't know whether that's translated across the world. But yeah, so it's still pretty festive. I sort of and ahed. Should we play the festive intro? Meh, who knows? But we didn't in the end. But I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas, ladies and gents. I hope you had a great time. And again, you could be anywhere this Tuesday, but you're choosing to spend it here with us. So I've got to say, straight from the off, thank you so much. Genuinely do appreciate it. It means the world to me. And again, I repeat, I sincerely hope you had a great Christmas wherever you were. And I will say, please do let us know where you are in the world. It's always interesting to hear and see where you guys are coming from. So we've got a bit of an action-packed stream for you today, which is very unusual because around this time, Hollywood just grinds to a halt. So this was actually quite surprising putting together the show for you today. We've got a lot of information, a lot of stuff to cover. We've, of course, got Doctor Who bits and pieces. It's funny. It looks like Disney's trying to wipe the slate clean and go, season 1. No, it's not. No, it's not. Absolutely, it's not.
Well, so you can separate the garbage from the other stuff.
Or from the extra garbage, you mean?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I got an answer for your Boxing Day question. No, we don't celebrate that stuff here in America because we actually fought a war against you guys, so we don't have to celebrate that kind of crap here in America. We're Americans.
Well, anyway, it's not something to actually celebrate as an FYI. But anyway, so
is it called Boxing Day because people fight over crap, or is it called Boxing Day because you open boxes?
It's not that. I'll get to that in a minute. So we've got the Doctor Who stuff. We've got Joker 2. Some images have been revealed. We've got Labyrinth maybe being remade. I know, sacrilege. We've got Superman Legacy, Punk Rocker Supergirl. All manner of bits and pieces to cover. There is actually quite a lot. So that is what is in store for you today on your favorite podcast. I will say again, we get heavy demonetization here on the Hcast. In fact, a whole bunch of them which were sat waiting to be uploaded on the second channel. They're uploaded now. They're ready to go. In fact, they are available for you all. I completely just demonetized. So if you want to help the show out, support your favorite podcast, fan funding is the way to do it. Super chats do that. It's a great way to get involved in the show as well. We take a large amount of time out of our, out of the show to spend engaging with those super chats. So please do chuck in a buck or two if you can. Memberships are exactly the same kind of thing. It really does help support the show. And Patreon, you can find that linked down below. Also, just as I said, we've got the second channel where these whole shows go, as well as all of the clips and best bits. That's linked down below, along with our panelists today, which I will give it over to them and they can introduce themselves and plug themselves. So, Tom, you were so eager to talk. So we'll get you here first.
I'm just confused about Boxing Day. Yeah.
I will explain it in a minute. But you, Tom, who are you? Where are you from? Plug some shit.
Wow, plug some shit. I'm Tom Connors, of course, from Midnight's Edge, Midnight's Edge After Dark. You can find me over there all the time. I also have a couple other channels that I do stuff on as well, but those are the main two. And yeah, thanks for having me, and happy Boxing Day to all of my friends over there celebrating. Is it a UK thing or is it all of Great Britain? So yeah, you gotta explain this.
Yeah, so it's an English thing.
Okay.
So basically, no. What happened was, because it is actually quite interesting. It's actually quite interesting. So the origin of Boxing Day was actually for servants, right? It came from servants, right? So all the servants and people that are in service to big houses, manor houses, they obviously wouldn't be able to celebrate Christmas. So they had their Christmas the day after Christmas, basically. And what they would do is they would take all of the gift boxes left over from their employers, these big affluent manor houses, all that kind of thing. And it would be them that could take home. That's what they took home, basically. It's like gift boxes and things like that.
Sounds depressing as fuck.
Well, for them, not massively, but that's basically what happened. And they would repackage some bits and pieces if they could afford it. But that's where it came from.
So no fighting.
That's the origin of it. No, sadly not, unfortunately, because that'd be a bit more
cool.
Fun. But
yeah.
But Tom did a pretty terrible job of plugging his stuff, so I'll do it for him. Guys, Tom is of Midnight's Edge. You may know that. And you may also know Midnight's Edge After Dark, which is what he really should be plugging, but I'm plugging it for him. You can find that link down below in the description box. Please do hit subscribe on that channel. There you go, Tom. Yeah,
well, I did say most of that. I mean, I didn't say it as eloquently and cool as you.
You need to get on it, mate. You're on enough live streams.
After Dark is a separate channel from Midnight's Edge.
There you go.
Check it out.
It's Midnight's Edge adjacent.
It is.
So, yeah.
It is.
There'll be adjuncts to it.
Who are you? Plug some shit. With you.
Well, I'm the guy who just got back in focus. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Check it out. YouTube, Odyssey, Minds, Rumble, Getter, Swifty. I don't know. I'm on all those things under Culture Casino. You can find me there. I do weekday videos every day. Live streams are 6 minutes, and they feature just news bits and stuff that we cover in depth on all the wonderful shows I'm on throughout the week. And this is your favorite podcast. I'm glad to be a part of it. And we have so much more in store for you in the next year. So excited. Okay.
We do actually, yeah. So obviously we're picking back up just after Christmas. We're going to stream today. We're going to stream Thursday as well. And then we'll obviously just normally take our break like we always do across the weekend. And we will be back on Tuesday, which will be 2nd of January, won't it? So yeah, we've got some pretty big plans for the new year, for the show, for the Hcast, as well as my channel, but it's Hcast adjacent. So just to tease it ever so slightly, merch is something which I used to do quite a lot of. I used to do some brilliant designs, and they were good fun. And then I stopped plugging them because Teespring is just wank. But we're bringing it back. Okay, we're going to bring it back cheaper, better, Better for you guys in the States, but equally as good for anyone worldwide as well. Should be fine, should all be sorted. So please do 2024. We've got some fantastic stuff coming, especially for just this show in general. And there was even the potential of a live show. Not this kind of live show, but an in-person live show. Just a little cock tease there. Just a little prick tease. Just teasing the prick. So if you guys would like that, that's why we're asking where you are, because we need to kind of figure out where the potential is to, sort of
We're here in
distances.
Uruguay. Yeah.
So if you can let us know where you're all from, that'd be great, because it helps. Right. Anyway, rambled enough. Christ, let's get on with it. Accent Seller sent in 50. I'm so tired after Christmas. My God. Accent Seller sent in 50 Norwegian kroner. And it says, "Hi, Mr. H. I sent you an email proving there are paid shills bots in the Doctor Who YouTube channel comments. You can pull up the included screenshots on stream." I'll have to have a look. Actually, that didn't come through. So I'll double check on that, chap. So we'll get to that in a minute. But thank you. Comrade Commissar Yuri says, "H, I'm calling it now that it's the Master in Drag." Oh, goodness me. We'll get to that as well. Thank you so much. And that's Comrade Commissar Yuri dropping in £1.99. Big supporter here on the channel, actually. Not massively in the streams these days, but long time supporter. So massive shout out to you, dude. You've always dropped in for over the years. Been a long time. So thank you so much. Right, well, let's get to how was everyone's Christmas, actually, first and foremost, before we shuffle on. What did you guys do? Do anything nice?
I had a happy Christmas. Got to see family, not all the family, but some of the family, and got to see the young ones get their things. That's the joy that you get to relive vicariously through the young folks. I got a suitcase worth of batteries. Apparently, that was the big gift. I was like, this is a lot of batteries. It's like a special storage case. I was like, all right, just need a Faraday cage now. Yeah. Saves a lot of money.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And how about yours, Tom?
Well, Andre is Norwegian, as you know, is German adjacent. So I worked. And then after that, I watched some movies and stuff. Went and stopped by my folks to say hi. Took a nap. Stuff like that. I watched Violent Night for the first time, the one that came out last year, David Harbour movie.
I've heard that's really good.
Yeah, it was actually a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about that.
Other than that, what did I watch yesterday? I know I watched that. I'm trying to remember what else. I don't even remember, but yeah, that was pretty much it. Just kind of was lazy for the most part otherwise.
Nice. I traveled quite a lot, to be fair. I think I spent Christmas Eve, it's about 2.5, 3 hours driving down to Dorset. So I was there. And then I spent another 3.5, 4 hours driving on Christmas Day. So I know, about 4.5 hours driving Christmas Days are pretty tired, to be honest. Hence why I'm still a bit like, ugh. Getting back into the flow of everything. But anyway, look, it is what it is. Guys, shall we get to our first topic? I think it's a good one. I think we'll enjoy this one. So, yeah, let's go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so hands up who watched Aquaman 2 and the Lost
There was
Kingdom.
an Aquaman 2?
There was. So just real quick before we get started, and it's just not an actual review of it, but what were your general thoughts of it, Culture? What did you think of it?
Extraordinary waste of money, convoluted, very iffy CGI about 50% of the time. Hollow story, terrible performance by Amber Heard. She couldn't summon emotions if she tried, even if she were practicing witchcraft. She was in too much of the film. Anybody who is not a fan of hers is going to be very unhappy with the movie. The actors performed at a surface level, getting the job done, but not actually
Loving the
doing much
fucking
more.
water puns, mate.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Well, sorry, it takes a lot to weave all those in. But no, honestly, look, it was all just a terrible WEF wet dream. I mean, you're drowning
Yeah.
in the soy tears the entire time, and so did the box office with this thing. So, I again, this thing is this is an average movie at best. I actually rated it lower than Wonka, and I didn't have a lot of praise for Wonka. But I mean, compared to some of the other things that we've been served, this is just more DC garbledy.
Yeah, so I mean, my thoughts mirror yours. To be fair, it was. I mean, the climate change being the villain was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was derivative propaganda, I guess would be the best way to title it. It was just garbage, pretty soulless, not fun. Yeah, I was pretty bored through it as well. I didn't enjoy it very much at all. I watched 2 movies that day, and yeah, both were dog shit. So I didn't really have a good time. I'm not gonna lie, but hey, seems like everyone else is thinking the same thing as we were, because Aquaman 2 absolutely bombed. The Color Purple released Christmas Day to $18 million domestically, which is for a musical is pretty bloody insane. Now, Aquaman 2 really did bomb because it only did $38.3 million, which is substantially worse than the Marvels, which is quite funny. But also, what I like to think of when I do this is that this is the year 2 sequels to 2 separate billion-dollar movies have absolutely bombed.
Well, more than that, if you count Indiana Jones with inflation.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely bombed epically. Aquaman 2 should lose somewhere in the region of $275 million to $300 million, all considered, because it opened up and it did. Oh, what did it do? So, where is it? We've got it. So it did quite a lot of theaters, 3,700 theaters.
4 days and $38.3 million. That means it didn't even average $10 million a day.
Yep. B cinema score.
Ooh.
Worldwide, it took $80.1 million. However, $30 million of that came from China.
China loved the first one too, and I don't think Warner's going to see a lot of that money. In fact, culturally,
exactly.
Tell you, like, generally they get anywhere from 30 to 9 times out of 10 less than 10 cents on the dollar is what we've heard, if they're lucky. Because then China will go, what money?
Yeah.
We don't see any money.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. People think that, people think that it's a guarantee that they're going to get money from them. No, 100% no, 100% not. So they get basically no money from China, so you can discount a lot of that $30 million. So yeah, it's done what? 100, 110, 120 odd million dollars worldwide. Opening weekend. It should be doing that just domestically. Now, if it's going to follow standard superhero trajectory, it will drop off, 60% next week? It's done. Dead as a dodo. Gone.
It also didn't necessarily have as many theaters as you would have expected for a major superhero release. I think you would normally anticipate, well over 4,000 theaters that it opened in.
Yeah, there really wasn't many. I mean, 3,700, and that's terrible. That's
I mean, I think Wonka actually had more theaters than now, it's pretty wild. And look, the Tom was like leading to something in his commentary, and that is that the earnings per theater for this film were very disappointing domestically as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it going, okay, you're barely competing with like a middling Illumination offering. A second.
Well, some of these theaters
domestically-
are at like -6 people. I mean,
they're paying people to come in and
yeah, no, sorry, joke, but
but no, it's pretty wild. I mean, Migration is a middling offering from Illumination, right? And
well,
it
and that
still
was
did
when I
pretty
was
well.
warning people about has a heavy ESG message in it too. Because
Mm.
remember, we even heard, and I heard through the grapevine, and we even had basically people like Bob Iger confirm they were going to start leaning into the E part of the ESG. And that
Yeah.
Aquaman is a clear example of that.
Yeah, that's
This
that's like
migration movie
years
is
old
built
though,
on
isn't
the
it?
idea of global warming. But yeah, no, they're instead of the S and G part of it, they're going to start leaning a lot more into the environmental. And this is where I said, look, the environmental thing I don't have as much problem with because we can get some fun movies out of that. Remember, like
Mm.
Armageddon and Deep Impact and The Day After Tomorrow and 2012 and those kind of movies. Like those kind of movies come out of the idea of this, Earth's dying disaster shit. I can deal with that compared to the woke crap.
Mm.
I'm used to that.
Well,
But
the environmental stuff it doesn't work because it's too heavy-handed. Their
it
approach
depends
should
on
be-
how it's handled. Exactly. I agree
Yeah.
with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're in for it as far as films for the better part of the next 2 to 3 years before they just give up on, the idea that they can force social change through this terrible approach to entertainment.
Oh,
a
and they
lot of
can
people,
turn.
Yeah.
a lot of people suggest, Tom, and I think you'll probably agree that the only reason they were doing this is because they thought that they could sustain it long enough that they would get a couple of generations invested in their trash, and that just didn't happen. And it's there. You have too many parts of the audience turning on all this messaging.
Well, we're almost 10 years into this crap.
Yeah,
And I've said this before, like Hollywood runs on roughly about a decade of like what do you call it?
Fad.
I think kind of that's not the word I'm looking for, but every like 10 years to a decade or so, things change, right? Cycle. Thank you. Pretty much
The
you go
menstrual cycle that is
yes, the
Hollywood.
menstrual cycle that is Hollywood, and it really you pick up after the moguls, and from the 60s on through now, there's been this kind of like cycle we go through. The difference is in this woke cycle, we did not there was a gatekeeping involved, and I brought this up before, where they did not allow any of the independent voices to find their way into movies outside of independent voices from outside the US, it seems like. And none of these directors have done jack shit all since then, right? Like, do you guys remember who the director of Parasite was? I don't. Do you know what his new movie
No.
was? I don't. Do you remember what Deborah Chow's last hit was? I don't. Exactly that. Like, I mean, none of these people are worth a shit anymore. And we're at this point where everything's kind of hit this road of, I think the other studios, what I'm getting to, are going to start switching gears. Even if they lean into the environmental thing, they're going to definitely lean away from the woke crap. Disney is the only one that is committed to it right now. Amazon, sort of, kind of, and yes, it's in the other studios still. But as I've pointed this out with like Zaslav, right? Like David Zaslav knows that there are guys that like to suck dick out there, so he's going to make entertainment for guys who like to suck dick. Okay, that's just the way it is, right? People who have money to spend. But what he understands compared to some other people is that the audience for something like that is not nearly as big as something like Batman. So trying to make something like Batman for an audience like that makes a mistake. I didn't like the Batman. But one thing I can't say about the movie other than the BLM movement part is it wasn't overly, inundated with a bunch of messaging outside of that crap, right? Like that's the biggest message that was hovering over the film. But once they start moving out of that kind of stuff, which they kind of have this year, I mean, we're kind of hard pressed to find a movie that was super woke. Even Barbie was up for debate on certain aspects of it. It didn't, to me, the movie doesn't go woke until about halfway through, right? Then it starts going down this woke path. Prior to that, the movie's exactly what it should be, in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there. It was a big hit. I can't speak on that. But then again, I've also pointed out like things like, the movie that was big this weekend that took everybody by surprise, except for me, kind of. I think you go back to last week when I was talking about it, either here on Midnight's Edge, Color Purple. I said that's kind of a wild card. It might do well because these musical reboots tend to do very well. We were talking about it before the show. And why? Because it's something the audience likes. You have an audience for that. It may not be us. It may not be me and Culture and Mr. H. But guess what? It does have an audience. And they went out to see it on Christmas Day, almost $20 million worth of it.
And you know what? That it is surprising. I mean, to me, I said it before we got streaming today. That there's that many people that are invested in it. But Tom is correct in saying, I mean, there is an audience out there for it. You have niches. You can appeal to niches. You just can't spend $250 million appealing to a niche. Doesn't work.
Well, this is, speaking about niches, though, even the Hollywood Reporter's like, look, one's movie lends further credence to the superhero fatigue theory. Aquaman 2's opening trails the recent 46.1 million start of the box office debacle, the Marvels from rival Marvel Studios. Now, listen, I don't necessarily think superhero fatigue is there, right? I think bad movie fatigue is the predominant purveyor of bad box office receipts. But I definitely think that there's an eye roll moment here and there when another superhero movie is announced in the same year consistently, time and time again. But I think what's most telling about this is Hollywood Reporter's statements. Box office debacle of Marvel Studios. James Wan's superhero fatigue for Aquaman 2. There does seem to be a turning of the sort of tide with respect to mainstream media turning on DC and Marvel, whereas before, because that was their money maker, right, reporting on a lot of these things, getting a lot of clicks coming through and things. They're sort of turning their back on them. I don't know whether you guys sort of picked up on any of that, but definitely for me there. Jump in all at once there, Culture. Yes? No? Did you pick up on that? Fucking hell.
Tom.
You can speak as well, Culture.
No, I want to hear Tom.
Oh my God.
I'm arguing with people in the chat because they're bitching at me over the fucking Parasite.
Well, stop. Just talk about what I've just said. Make me bloody wait. Jesus. Oh, fucking useless. Jesus Christ. Culture, were you bloody listening or are you doing something else?
To which part?
Oh, fuck this.
See, he wasn't listening.
That's not cool, guys. You got to fucking pay attention a little bit.
Look.
We get complaints for stuff like that. You know that?
No, look.
No, we do. On the second channel, we get complaints for stuff like that. Come on.
About what? About my beard?
Yes, about your beard.
That's what I thought.
Jesus. Right.
Honestly, one of the things that I've noticed most frequently is that the audience is walking away from anything that even has a hint of proselytizing in it. The audience has moved largely away from accepting films for what they're presenting on screen. We complain an awful lot. I have heard a lot of complaining about trailers that are too revealing. I think that also is a big factor that is contributing to less people in the box office. So,
and Mikey's got my back because he's half the reason I'm distracted, or at least a third of the reason.
See, and people
Mikey, Mexican Iron Man.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, let's shuffle on to some super chats then. So Prometheus Ascends has become a new member. So thank you so much. Good, sir. I salute you. Do appreciate that. Chap. We've also got Dragon Reborn 35 Darren has been a member for 34 months. So that's quite incredible. Thank you so much. Genuinely, that's great. And he drops in and says, Happy Boxing Day, Mr. H, Culture Casino, and Tom. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. Mr. H, will you be doing any gaming videos again in the future? So gaming videos are difficult for me. I used to really like doing gaming videos, and I've done them a few times here on the channel. If you guys are like relatively new, you'd be like, what? You've done gaming videos? I have, genuinely. And there's a few playlists full of them. I've played Alien Isolation twice because it's just such a replayable game. I I did Resident Evil Biohazard. I've done a fair few games, but the issue that I find with these games recently is that they're so shit and so disengaging that I will play them for a little bit and then I just can't be bothered to complete them. Now, also, what's important to note is I don't make the cost of the game itself, right? Because you got to view this like I love what I do, but you've also when you're spending quite a lot of money on a video game, you have to actually look at that facet to the channel from a very business minded perspective. Not everything, but that specifically because they're so expensive. And when I do videos for them, the amount of videos that get released and also what's the amount of views that you get per the video, that it doesn't ever cover the cost of the video game. So it's actually a false economy. And also the games are so dog shit that I don't even complete them anymore. So I've just been wasting my money basically. So I guess the long answer is kind of that. And the short answer is, will I be doing any more? Yeah, I'd love to do some more when there's a good enough game to engage it. And you know what I'd probably end up doing is I would probably stream it, I think. So you guys can engage with me whilst I'm playing it, as opposed to it being its own little standalone video. But it's also important to remember is they just don't earn any money. Like they don't. It's not even that they don't earn money. They always run at a loss, right? And I don't like to talk about money like that, generally speaking. But when you spend like £70 to £100 on a game, that's expensive, guys, right? So yeah, I'd like to bring them back. Short answer. We'll see.
Yeah, especially if the game's not done. I mean, that's incredibly frustrating.
That's the other fucking thing.
Yeah.
You download a game and then you've got to download another game day one patch. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Bloody annoys the piss out of me. I'll tell you, there is a game that I do want to play when it gets released. So there was Senua's Sacrifice. That was brilliant. That first game was great. I really liked that. And they're making another one. So when that gets released, hands down, I'll play that on the channel. Categorically, because I really enjoyed the first one. So I'll play the second one. Anyway, Richard Curtis dropped in with £10. Says, Merry Christmas. Started watching an anime called Chainsaw Man. Did a YouTube dive on the author. He also wrote a manga called Fire Punch. That sounds very messed up and great too. Not seen Aquaman 2. Don't bother. Genuinely, don't bother. I'm sure culture will agree with that. Genuinely don't bother. It's so garbage. I don't know anything about Chainsaw Man. I've heard stuff, but don't know anything about him. But thank you so much. Hope you had a great Christmas, dude. Tom Working drops in with £2. Says, you forgot The Happening. This is all to do with the environmental movies, I think, isn't it? I think so.
Yeah, that was the one where the wind kills people.
Oh,
right.
Well, hasn't there been like a series of them that were kind of tangentially related to the environment? Like, you know, the what was the one that was like the bird box? Yeah. Stuff like that.
There's been a few. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, we've seen a lot of those like environmental horrors.
Crawl. That was the alligator one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they really are trying to do allegory stuff. They just don't do it very well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even the original Godzilla is technically an environmental movie if you think about it. I mean, it's about the effect of nuclear war. I mean, it's that
runs the sort of runs a cross line of sort of anti-war and environmental, I guess. But yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
So Mexican Iron Man drops in with $10. Says, I was listening, so I'll chime in. I think that it is momentous that Hollywood is turning on the two major studios in the superhero genre. Who fucking Ray? Someone replied to my spiel about mainstream media. I'm so glad. Thank you very much, Mikey. Why can't you be like more like? Why can you be?
Why isn't he here? Culture? He's trying to be a YouTuber. Get on the stream.
I fucking know. I sent him the invite, and this motherfucker
he does this on purpose because then if he's like, if I show up, I'm a YouTuber. And then it's
doesn't
like, if
want
I'm
to
a
say nothing
YouTuber,
anymore.
then people think I'm a YouTuber, and it's like, well, yeah, because you're a YouTuber, Mike.
Mikey's been a bitch these days. Unbelievable.
So
Send him an invite. He doesn't want to turn up. I didn't send him
I
one today,
know.
in fairness. But normally he's
I'll send
driving.
him one.
So. Tom Working dropped in with $5. Says the modern era is an industrialization of previous storytelling, with all its concerns with sales, cultural moise. Hollywood beats things to death. Yeah.
Moirays.
Yeah. No, you're right. You are absolutely right. And it is just
Like
recycling
manta
of
rays.
old.
No.
It is just recycling of old bloody stories. It's absurd.
Well, that's Hollywood. It has been from the start. Look, there's that theory that there's only like 7 or 9 stories to tell, and they just keep getting retold over and over and over again, or whatever it is. I mean, it isn't. I don't disagree with it to a point, because there's only certain types of stories you can keep telling over and over again. I think it's maybe more than 9, but it just depends on what kind of costume you put it in at the end of the day. I mean, for instance, I watched Violent Night last night. That movie is clearly an homage to Die Hard and Home Alone. Clearly.
Yeah, true.
I mean, at the end of the day, I got to sit there and go, now, is it a ripoff or is it an homage? Right? You have that nowadays more so than not. Right? Because I can go back and there's a few movies in the past that I can say, well, clearly, Scorsese or whoever was, inspired by this director or that director, or loved Hitchcock. Like, De Palma was kind of like the de facto person who carried that torch on. You get that once in a while, but nowadays it just feels like, does anybody have a unique voice aside from Zack Snyder? Like, even then, it's like the reason he's kind of like a Michael Bay type, right? Like the reasons when you figure out who he is, like, yeah, not good reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got a question just for you actually now, Tom. So Fat Man versus Violent Night. Doug VA loves horror. Says Fat Man. What do you think? Fat Man versus
I'll
Violent
go with
Night.
Fat Man. Definitely with Fat Man over Violent.
Why?
Violent Night was still good. Why? Because Fat Man was more original. And performance by the 2 main leads. David Harbour and a few of the other cast were really good in that film, but again, at the end of the day, it feels a lot like the other 2 films I just mentioned. Fat Man, I don't really have anything I can compare Fat Man to. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's something I could if I thought long enough and hard enough, but good film. I'm sure you guys have seen Fat Man at least, right?
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Definitive. Tom has spoken. Zephyr has been a member for 4 months. Thank you so much, my dude. Appreciate that, chap. Thank you. And joining us now to hopefully not fucking ignore me is Mikey.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I love you. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm usually off site at clients and stuff. And so I listen to you guys when I'm off site, usually working at my clients or on the way there or on the way back. But I'm here. Love you.
Good. How was your holidays?
It was mom's in town from South Carolina. It's just been the 2 of us, but it's been great.
Okay, nice.
And you?
Yeah, good. Just like it's just that sort of trying to get back into the rhythm of things after it. So hectic, but yeah, it was good. It was good. It was very good. But I think we should shuffle on now to one of our headliner topics, I reckon. So, Doctor Who, season 14, or is it season 1? Because the trailer's just been dropped. Now, BBC, Doctor Who is now partnered with Disney, and things have gone drastically downhill. Money clearly does not benefit that show, because my God, is it even worse than it's ever been. And we had this Doctor Who trailer for next series teases thrilling new adventure and finally reveals release window. So there's a few things which are comical about this, because it looks like they're teasing a weird love triangle between Ncuti Gatwa and his new companion's boyfriend. That's a bit weird. Not really sure what that's got to do with anything, but fine. And they released, they released an interesting, well, a lot of stuff actually, a lot of stuff. So they released this sort of teaser thing on Twitter or X, another behind the scenes thing, and then they released the trailer as well. The trailer is fantastic. Has anyone seen the trailer? I'm building it up now. Has anyone seen the trailer?
Yes.
I've been avoiding this.
You've written it for me, Mikey.
Do you want me to rant about Doctor Who again?
Not yet. I want to show everyone
the
villain.
Oh God.
This is the villain.
Divine lost some weight.
I understand the thumbnail now.
Subversion. So check this. This is obviously a drag queen. Now, at one point it was no, you can't villainize. Remember, this is Russell T Davies is the man that changed Davros from a wheelchair-bound guy who's not in a wheelchair. It's actually a life support system, but just fucking overlooked that, I guess. From being in a wheelchair to now walking because he didn't want disabled people to be villainized, to now putting in a drag queen as the villain.
As basically Bette Midler role play from Hocus Pocus, it looks like to me. I mean,
well, I just think it's comical because, well, we'll get to the comments in a minute, but I want you to look at it like this. So this is the sort of the lens I viewed this from, right? You start infiltrating society, normalizing degenerate behavior, right? And then you hide behind the shield of diversity. So you go, no, you can't. Actually, you're an islamophobe if you say anything nasty about us. Don't paint us out to be morally degenerate villains. No, that's wrong. So then they keep infiltrating society under that premise, and then they go, yes, Queen, we can be whoever the fuck we want now. We're normalized in society, so now we can be villains. Isn't that weird? Because that's how I viewed this, and I think I'm right. If they can reach villain status, then the subversion is complete.
I agree.
They fully normalized this. There are adverts with drag queens on in the UK all the time now on TV. So they fully normalized it. So the subversion is quite literally complete. So anyway, I want you to, what do you think to that? Because I reckon I'm bang on the money there.
I agree with you completely because when it's like going through the different phases. And look, I was one of the ones who thought that RTD coming back along with Tennant was going to be an amazingly positive development. I mean, that was obviously a couple of years ago when I heard the news. And so I've been recently brokenhearted by what I've seen. I agree with you completely in your assessment. I think once it's normalized that, because essentially what's happening is you can take anyone with this profile can play any character. That means that anyone with this personality profile, what I call a disorder, personality profile, then now can be anywhere, anytime, any place, doing anything. I find it really disturbing and off-putting as a longtime watcher of various seasons of Doc. It's just really, I'm just really pissed. I'm still mad about RTD, and I don't know if I'm more mad at RTD and Tennant as I am mad at myself that I actually thought things were going to get better and get back on track.
They've got their own Demogorgon look. I mean, that's ripped straight out of Stranger Things, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Honestly, such derivative trash. Just steal everything from everything else. Anyway, the real reason why I wanted to talk about this is that they've released this and they've called it Season 1. It's not Season 1. This is that whole, we're starting completely brand new with everything, even though we've never taken a break.
Maybe it's 25% different.
Well, it was called Season 1 before because they were off the air for quite a long period of time, right? So that's why when it came back, it was like, oh, we'll call it Season 1 because it's a new era. Now what they're doing is, well, it's a new era because he's gay and he's black. So that's why it's a new era, apparently.
Wait, you think the new era is like the reboot, and they're gonna they have dreams of resetting how many doctors there are, and we're starting over with this guy as the first? Is that what you're saying?
I've no idea. I don't think so. I don't think that's what they're doing. But they're just trying to call. The thing is that they're now in the new you know, they're now with Disney, different sort of distribution and stuff like that. So they can just be like, season 1 now. Season 1 of Disney's Doctor Who. That's the way it looks. Just absolute derivative garbage. And people are like, oh, the Beatles have been teased. Oh, yay. Comments are absolute comedy gold, though. So we'll go to newest comments. So traditionally good-looking white women are only allowed as the Doctor's companion now if the Doctor is black and gay. Got it. Although I would, well, is Billie Piper, was she considered traditionally all right? I don't know. Yes, finally, Britain was always black. White people whitewashed everything and hid the truth. Finally, the truth is here, and we're taking back what's ours. If that's actually what someone thinks,
wow, ridiculous. Is that a serious comment or a sarcastic one?
I literally can't tell because they're framing some high society, olden times as being very multicultural. So I don't know. But here, been a lifelong fan of Doctor Who, both Classic Who and 2005 onwards. Safe to say, I won't be watching anymore. Looks utter garbage, just like the last 3 specials. Can't wait for the bloody new season. So that's releasing in May, apparently. I want to like it, but I can't. It feels like it like rehashes of the good part of the previous Doctors, and the new dynamic with Ruby coming across as borderline creepy, as it has a romance to it. But as someone says, leans into daughter a bit too far for me. Sorry, what? Don't mind me, just laughing at all the weak-minded consumers in the comments.
Woof.
There's a lot like this. It's quite funny now. What do we think anyway? What's our thoughts on this?
I like the Beatles.
Come on, Culture. You've not said much.
I like the Beatles. I'm done with Doctor Who. You couldn't make me not want to come back and watch it anymore.
For the sake of this segment, you're gonna have to engage with them, I'm afraid, mate.
Well, I think it would be more ironic if they had the Who instead of the Beatles.
Oh, just look. Saying. High society England.
Yeah, that's
multicultural everywhere.
Yeah, that's definitely historically accurate right there, buddy. You know what? They can make it more. Oh my God.
Racism never existed, ladies and gents.
Wow. If racism never existed, Nathan, we have nothing to course correct and overcorrect for.
That's right.
Exactly.
We can leave my doctors the way they were always meant to be, the way they came out throughout the last few decades.
Guys, he can say that because he's Mexican.
Yes.
Look,
only white people can be racist, apparently. So
okay.
Well, no. I mean, no. Wait, no. See, you tricked me into that. That's not what I. No, I mean, no. That's not what I meant.
Look. I
like turtles.
Edit me for the clip section.
Can I say something good here? I want to say something nice. Visually, this is as crisp and clear as a daytime soap opera.
Actually, I will give it that. It doesn't have that overly video look that a lot of stuff from the BBC generally does have because of whatever reason we've talked about in the past. I'll give it that much.
Well, see, that's part of the problem because Disney coming in, they essentially gave them a fresh pot of cash to go and play with.
Yep.
And wreak havoc with, because the only ones that came to the table, it's not like what they created and what was left over, the remnants of the scraps of Doctor Who that we got from the from the last seasons. There was no bidding war. It's not like there were a bunch of studios like dying to like pick this up and fund it. But of course, this thing's now on Disney Plus. It's got Disney money. They're obviously spending Disney money and being whimsical with it. And there's we like to say go woke, go broke. Well, that only works except unless Disney doesn't underwrite the wokeness, and that's what's happening right now. Again,
I can't get over this straight rip off of the Demogorgon. Like, that is absolutely what that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
who died with Capaldi?
Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. This whole thing. Unbelievable. Has anyone seen the previous specials where they had someone in a wheelchair with like rocket launchers and stuff? It's ridiculous.
I think we also fought a war so we didn't have to deal with this shit too. Just saying.
Disney's willingly bringing it over, mate. Sorry.
Oh, it was a joke. Going off.
Anyway, there you go. Final words. I've spoken enough about this.
I don't have enough words.
Were you a hardcore Whovian, H?
No, not really. I liked it when they brought it back.
Okay.
Right, and then I sort of ended up checking out when Whitaker came back, and well, a little bit before that as well. To be fair.
All right.
Shooty was not a good choice for a doctor character. You know, in his range and the roles he's taken have been very singularly focused. That's the nice way of saying what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm
just not a fan of activist acting. And it always shows up in everything. Doctor Who is an activist program now, and Mexican Iron Man, my buddy Mikey, is 100% correct. The minute Disney showed up with their bags of cash, we're done for.
Well, we're doubly done for, I think, is the important thing to say, because it was pretty garbage anyway.
Can I ask a question? Do you remember when Russell T Davies said he was going to save Doctor Who?
Oh yeah, what he meant was save it from those dirty right wingers.
Okay.
Obviously, clearly, he definitely wanted to save it. He definitely wanted to save it from Mexican Iron Man. That's for sure.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, there you go. I thought we'd enjoy that. Let's shuffle on to some super chats now, guys. So D sent in $20 Australian, and he says, "Is it subversive when it happens all the time now? Something to think about." Well, is it true representation when representation now doesn't meet the statistical data? Is it over-representation? Who's now currently underrepresented? I mean, these are questions which, you know, I'm sure we probably all ask ourselves and scratch our heads and go, what a crock of shit to.
Well, everything has its roosters come home to roost. Okay.
Well, it is still subversive. I'll say this: it is still subversive, right? Because you got there's a cycle that people are aware of, right? So they'll go something will be happening, right? So let's take all those gross untoward books that are showing up in American schools, right? About sucking dick, you know, little kiddies sucking dick and stuff like this, right? Just let's look at that. So everyone goes, hey, that book's really gross, probably shouldn't be there. People will go, you're lying, that's not in schools, right? So that's the first part of the cycle. Then people will go, no, seriously, that's pedophilic, stop it, right? That's gross, get that out of schools. Then the people that previously denied it will go, well, it might be in the schools. Then it repeats again. No, that's super, super gross. It's absolutely 100% there. Get it out of the schools. Then the people that go, it might be in the schools, go, it is in the schools, but actually it's beneficial. And so this is still a form of subversion. And it's the same cycle that happens with everything. It happened with the drag queen story time bollocks. People would go, hey, that's pretty gross, actually. And kids are being exposed to stuff that they probably shouldn't be exposed to. And, you know, kids are, you know, seeing provocative, degenerately dressed individuals, and people went, no, that's not happening. And people were like, yeah, fucking is happening. And people were like, no, it's not. And they're like, no, it absolutely is. And they were like, well, maybe, but only in very isolated cases. And it was like, no, absolutely 100% it's happening all the time. And then they were like, yeah, but it's actually a good thing. So you start denying it, then they move to acceptance, then they move to it's a good thing. This is the consistent thing which happens with these fucking people.
Oh, you noticed that. You missed a step, and that was why do you hate children and want to, you know, keep them from education, and why do you want to persecute trans or lesbian or gay children.
Oh yeah,
that's the next step. You forgot a major step. So yeah, it's turning it around on them to make you feel guilty and like you're an idiot or a phobe or whatever. Yeah,
and that
so it's still definitely subversion.
And that institutionalizes because that's what normalizes it, because that's what makes it intergenerational, right?
Yeah, which is why I say now that they're happy to be represented as villains, the subversion is complete.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, D. Thank you very much. Horseradish Power has been a member for 33 months. Wow, thank you so much. Says this is the deep breath before the plunge. 2024 will be so mask off, it will shock the masses and wake them up. They're showing their true selves now. You know what? I don't think that's strictly true. I don't disagree, but I don't think it's strictly true, because I think ultimately, they're never going to go full mask off. Like, or well, I don't know. Maybe they've already gone full mask off, and then we're just so not surprised by it. We don't think it's full mask off anymore, because we're like a lot of us are exposed to this type of behavior all the time from these people. I don't know, but I can't see them ever just going, yeah, well, we want to, I don't know, like cleanse all of you and blah blah blah. I don't. Who knows? They've gone pretty full mask off. I don't know whether they go balls to the wall mask off, but I'm consistently surprised year on year out by the behaviors from people. So.
There's no such thing. There's no self-regulated shame, and there's no public shaming, and we need a little shaming around here, whether it's of all kinds of things. So we need some good.
They have no problem doing it. In fact, they'll go the next step as far as canceling. Right?
I mean, one of the best things I ever heard.
In most cases, when you shame somebody, what do you want? You want an apology, and you want them to change, right? See, and that's what people do. That's their first reaction to the woke, is to apologize and try to make a change. Well, that's not good enough. Remember that. Because once you apologize, that means you've owned that, and that to them is an own for them. So then they won't let it go. You're supposed to just up and take yourself out and or cancel yourself, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. Oh, very, very true. Richard Curtis drops in with £5. Says, judging by this, in less than 5 years, the future will look like the Capitol and Hunger Games. Doctor Who season 1 means the Doctor I watched ended. Oh, that's a good way of looking at it. They're calling it season 1 because Doctor Who's officially dead. The old Doctor's officially dead. I like that. That's good. That is very good. Doug 1985 VA loves horror for $4.99 says, I want the whole panel to watch Civil War. Magical black people and the Book of Clarence. Watch that trailer in one day. So that Civil War movie looks interesting. Surprising that Texas and California would team up, but okay. Maybe everyone in California was all high. Who knows? Probably likely. And the Society of Magical Negroes or something like that is a legit film. That's not me just saying it. That is a legit film that's coming out. Book of Clarence, not seen that. I'll have to go watch that trailer in one day, mate. I don't want an aneurysm.
Well, now, hold on here. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm willing to watch at least one of these, maybe even two of these.
You can't even turn up on the panel. I want to send you an invite, Movo. God.
Well, we got to plan it in advance. I'm not a YouTuber.
Oh.
I'm not a
YouTuber. Enough
streams,
mate, to be classified as a YouTuber these days, all right?
I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just a...
Yeah, you're full of it, mate.
You're on YouTuber now. South Carolina plantation farmer.
Well, that's true. It's actually true.
I can't even look at you and say that without laughing.
Outrageous. Tom Working drops in with $5. Says it used to be who's your fave Doctor? Now it's when did Doctor Who die for you?
Oof. Oh, golly.
That is true, though. Actually, that is true. Like it is. Yeah. It's. We say this a lot about fandoms. Apathy is fully set in a lot of fandoms for a lot of people because they've just gone. Because remember, like Nick is a great example of this. He's like, yeah, Star Wars is dead, but now he's like, I just don't care. Like, I don't care.
I don't care, and I'm going to change the entire purpose for my YouTube channel.
I know. I love that they did that. That's great.
Oh, that was a little heartbreaking for me.
Nah, I love it. I think it's good. Bang on. Good. Oh, well, guys, just as a quick one, please do. We've got 774 people here, so please do smash that thumbs up button. It really does help out the, hopefully, YouTube overlords notifying you that we're going live. This video will be unlisted once it's done, so I'm not asking you to like the video for the video. I don't care. This gets unlisted. But hopefully that will mean YouTube will tell you your favorite podcast is going live. So if you could just thumbs up the video, that'd be great. And as you've just seen, you know, at the end of a topic, we get to the super chats. So please do. We get heavy demonetizing here. Consider dropping in a few dollars here and there and asking your question, and we'll engage with you. We'll spend some time on your topics and your subjects. It can be about anything. It doesn't have to actually be about what we're talking about. There's been some here and there which have just started brand new entire conversations, and they're so good, they become its own video on the second channel. So please do consider that. Before we move on to our next topics, because we've got some really good ones, I will say, please do check out everyone's channels linked down below. Tom Connors of Midnight's Edge After Dark. Please do check him out there. Hit subscribe. Culture Casino, hit subscribe on his channel. And please do hit subscribe on the second channel, Mr. H Reviews Live Archives.
Yeah, well, and check out Mikey's channel. Mexican Iron Man does have a channel.
Yeah. Does he?
Kinda.
Culture?
Yes.
He does stuff on there from time to time.
I do box unbox.
Yeah.
Unboxings.
There you go. And again, on any stream that Tom's on, you know, there's a decent chance it's getting demonetized. So those super chats do help.
Yeah, no, well, they do it all the time now, and it's mainly actually because of what we're talking about, it seems now.
Entertainment?
Yeah, well, because a lot of it's carried over. Like, so all of the Kang stuff, Jonathan Major stuff, demonetized, annoyingly.
Really?
A lot of it's just been demonetized. It's really frustrating. So,
wow.
It is what it is. It doesn't, it is what it is. But
sure,
that's why Super Chats are so effective, guys. But anyway.
And memberships.
Yeah, and memberships. Yeah, that is true. But hey, look, breaking news. We've got something very, very fun for you all to dive into right now. So this dropped. I thought this was a joke. Just to throw it out there. I actually thought this was a joke. Rangs of Power has
Are they
now
saying,
decided.
Go ahead.
Well, so this is this is Sauron's true form. True form. So the other actor will still be in it, but this is Sauron's true form, by the way. This chap. It's the true form of Sauron. Do we know how Sauron was described in his true form? Anyone?
No, not off the top of my head.
I'm trying to recall. I think he was angelic, fair, something along that line.
Yeah.
Basically an allegory for the devil, I would assume.
Well, yeah.
So
I don't want to seem out of turn, but when I remember when I was young reading the book, I envisioned him to be kind of blonde, strong,
elven-like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't imagine him looking like this, which would be like my cousin Emilio.
Yep. So Sauron actor revealed for the Rings of Power Season 2. This is reported by Fellowship of Fans. Dear friends, Fellowship of Fans, we're back with a bang today, but before we start, blah, blah, blah. So here we have it. We wanted to close this year with a bang, specifically with scoops concerning one of the most anticipated characters for the second season, Sauron in his original form. Major original form Sauron scoops. Gavi Singh Chera will play Sauron in The Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2. He will play the original form version of the character, which is meant to be, I can't believe they even say it, angelic and ethereal.
Yeah.
You know what? He does have rather sharp features.
Yeah, look, I mean, yeah. the thing is, when Tolkien was writing it, very, very clearly, this was not what he envisioned. It's very much the elvish sort of look, right? That's what it would have been, 100%. So there's a little bit more. In the flashback scenes, original form Sauron will have long hair. In present day scenes in Eregion, he apparently has shorter hair. Can also finally confirm that Anatar is a character name listed for the Rings of Power Season 2, though no confirmation or evidence yet as to whether original form Gavi equals Anatar. So what do we think?
I think this is an abomination. I think this is awful. I think this is it's one thing when they go against the what we've seen in movies and motion pictures. It's another thing when you go against the literary works. I think this is a cultural felony of the highest order. That's what I think.
I always thought, and this is just from my recollection, since I haven't read the Silmarillion or anything in a very long time, that these were essentially like an offshoot of the Wizards, right? And so I was thinking like very Gandalf-y, very.
He's an elf technically, anyway, or whatever.
Yeah, they're high elves, though, right? Yeah. So I don't know.
He would basically, I think you're right, Culture. He would.
I think they kind of want. I think they just kind of want to disassemble all of the works all at the same time, whether they be theatrical or literary, as Mike was pointing out. I think that this isn't just about subversion. This is absolutely destroying the previous work and making it your own. And that's what this whole Rings of Power thing was about.
Well, isn't this inadvertent dark washing of bad guys kind of what got us to the woke shit in the first place?
Well, I mean, Sauron was,
isn't it always that, the bad guys are always, of some kind of Middle Eastern descent when it comes to
I would say that
terrorists, this and that and the others, bad guys in movies, or black guys are always depicted as bad guys in movies or what have you in the past, or robbers and all that kind of stuff. There was a whole thing about Dirty Harry and Charles Bronson movies going a little more after the non-white folk, let's say. So like in this respect, I kind of see this as a tone deaf move to try and diversify this cast that did not ask to be diversified. This is the problem we have here. This is where they try
either.
That's my point. Exactly. It's not coming from a place that said, this screaming, like, we need to change this. It's like, no, you don't. Right? Like certain things I could see a little bit of an argument made for, and I may even lose some of the audience on some of those arguments, but that's not my point. My point is most people aren't racist or have a problem with these issues. The issue is why change it, or it doesn't make fucking sense. Kind of like the whole Chernobyl thing. Or if all of a sudden a bunch of black people had showed up in Godzilla -1, people would be like, why the fuck are they there?
Very,
that makes no sense. Why? Because there was no black people in China at that time. Or Japan, I mean, sorry. That's my point. I do that every time.
I would say that we've hit a new level of insidiousness. Like if there's DEFCON levels, it's one thing to talk about what you were saying, Tom, which I agree with. But I think these people are so out of control. They want to erase all white people from all cultural mythos across the board, regardless of those characters being good, bad, or otherwise.
And I want Malcolm X played by the guy who played Shang-Chi.
That is to me the most insidious thing of all. No, it's not about Malcolm X playing. Well, I mean, I'm just saying anything that might be any kind of character at all. We just want to get rid of the white people across the board, regardless. And that's just crazy to me. I don't mean we as I'm included in this group. I'm just saying. But that's how I see this. I see this move as like, Jesus Christ, you guys. I'm like, okay, I got before you're trying to like make white man look bad. Now you're just trying to erase all characters that might be white in human history about the anthology of all fictional literature. What the hell? And I find that to be incredibly offensive and insidious.
I just think it's lazy as well. Like it's incredibly lazy.
Well, yeah.
I'll bet
Very,
you
very
anything one of
lazy.
these marketing people said, let's put an Indian guy in it. They watch a ton of stuff online and on whatever.
You're probably not wrong, Mike. They probably do have
because
huge
these people
audience
are
in India.
Yeah, they're like, you know what we're gonna do? Let's make the lead actor Indian. That RRR thing seemed to do pretty good. Let's put an Indian guy in the lead and let's get some Indian views.
Well, so someone in the chat said Lord of the Rings isn't human history. Actually, Lord of the Rings, the writer did base it predominantly actually on a lot of history, geographical locations as well, and created it as a thing for sort of
English
a British
mythology.
European myth and legend, basically, was what it was. So actually, yeah, there are strong parallels to history for a reason.
Yeah,
actually. So, it's important to remember those kind of things. But look, the first season was garbage. Loved memeing on it. So I'm going to enjoy memeing on this as well. I think this is going to be.
Let's let this train wreck come out, and Nate, you're going to release some videos, and hopefully we get Nate a new boat.
I don't have it. Well, a boat. I don't have a boat.
Okay, a boat or another Nissan.
No, he probably wants a boat
way
now.
too many cars.
I mean, we could get
maybe
you
a garage would be good.
We could get you a really nice power boat, like a Dansea or something.
No, like a workshop. I want a workshop. That'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
4-post lift. So
oh yeah, 4-post lift.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Anyway, do we have anything else to say on this before we shuffle on? Because goddamn terrible stuff.
Other than, of course, they did. Not really.
That is that again. It's that apathy setting in. We just go, of course, like, of course.
Honestly, we're reaching that point where we're more surprised, right? Like we were so surprised when James Gunn's Superman cast was announced, and it was actually full of pretty much, white people.
Yeah. What? Going on there?
Well, don't worry, James Gunn will find a way to mess that up too.
Not only that, a ginger, like playing.
Funny stories with that coming up. So
yeah, I saw Nate's video. I'm hot on that one. I'm pissed.
Well, there you go. Anyway, guys, Sauron. It'll be interesting. But let's shuffle on. We got some super chats to get to real quick before we move on. So thank you, everyone, dropping in the super chats again. 792 people here. Please do chuck a thumbs up on the video if you can. And I will say, because we've got you all here, where are you all from? Where are you all from? I'd love to know where you guys are from. And the reason why I'm asking this, because I've let the cat out of the bag a little bit now. I'm going to try and do a live in-person HCast event next year. That's the aim. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get the panel together, topics, same kind of thing, bit of fun in person. Rather than super chats, though, it'll be what you have to do with strippers, and you'll just chuck money.
What?
Yeah, you have to chuck money on the stage as dollars, and then we'll get to it like that. No, it's a joke. But yeah, so the idea is hopefully we'll do an in-person podcast for you, which would be pretty cool. Try and figure that out. So yeah, figuring out where you're all from is pretty important. But anyway, moving on from my terrible joke of stripper money. Accent Seller drops in with 20 Norwegian kroner, says, imagine Charles Dance as the master. Epic. Too late. Yeah, Charles Dance is such an underrated actor. He's incredible. He's bloody brilliant. Bloody brilliant. Most things he's in, though, his roles don't go anywhere. So do you remember Dracula Untold, where he played Dracula and he was like, let the games begin or something like that at the end? Or so it begins. And it's like, what? Nothing begun, mate. It ended. That died. You remember this?
I try to erase that idea from my memories.
Godzilla, King of the Monsters. He was leader of a whole terrorist group that unleashed Ghidorah on the world.
He's a good actor.
And then just disappeared. Just dead. Gone.
Yeah.
Next movie, gone. Disappeared. Okay, cool. He's a cool actor. I like him. Needs to be in more stuff. Anyway. Comrade Commissar Yuri drops in £4.99. Says, since we're starved of good content, I highly recommend The Worst Verse, written by Josh Wagner and narrated by Nature's Temper here on YouTube. There you go. Check it out, but not right now. Keep watching this. Horseradish Power drops in £2. Says, erase history, delegitimize an ethnic group. That's pretty much what they want to do, I think. Yeah. Now I don't know what this is. What's this? Is this Mexican dollars?
Yes.
It's 500 Mexican. I think so.
Yeah.
You should know this, Mikey.
I should.
Right?
I should. But
You
I
are
was
the
looking up.
Mexican.
I was looking
Holy
up
shit.
round trip flights to Heathrow.
Unbelievable, right? Yeah. Our own resident Mexican. You're gonna get Mexican out of your name right there, mate. You don't even know what currency this is. Outrageous.
Castle Velasquez for 500 Mexican dollars. This is a total lack of respect of Tolkien's legacy. Now fandoms make better stories than studios. Gentlemen, I wish you a happy new year. I think you offer a great content, especially during personal difficult times throughout the year.
Well, I will say, sorry that you've had difficult
avatar.
times. Genuinely, sorry to hear that, chap. But I'm glad we can offer some escapism. So, yeah, thank you for dropping in with that. And you're completely right. I'm sure everyone would agree with Castle Vasquez here that fandoms generally make better stories. There's that Star Trek sort of story, isn't there, where they asked fans to submit sort of scripts and things, and they dropped in some incredible scripts, and they were adapted. Isn't that right? If I remember rightly, anyone?
There was a few that I know of. Yeah. There's even a movie based around that idea. I don't know how accurate it is as far as historically or anything like that. But Dakota Fanning was in it. I'm trying to remember the name of it though. But yeah, I'm trying to remember.
What was the outline?
They famously. What was it?
What was the outline for the premise? The film?
She wrote a Star Trek script, and the story is about her trying to get it to Hollywood. But I mean, you had a couple people who supposedly, that if I remember correctly, at least a few that had turned in scripts that got turned into episodes. Yeah, but they quit doing that, of course, in the modern age.
Well, there you go. Castle Vasquez, my dude. Do appreciate that. There's some things which haven't come through on the back end.
Yeah, Please Stand By. That's the name of the movie. Thank you, Shane White. That's the one I was thinking of.
Hey, way to go. Well done.
How strange. Sorry. There are some things which haven't come through on the back end there.
Very strange.
So
they're not in StreamYard?
Right. Sorry, no, I've got them now. So Richard Curtis dropped in with £5. Says, I frequently travel to Glasgow, Edinburgh, Newcastle, York, Leeds, Sheffield, and Leicester. Not my most inclusive super chat. Oh dear. Horny Alf drops in for $19.99. Says Gandalf and Sauron were both Maya, which were basically angels incarnate.
Yeah.
Sauron was corrupted, and Gandalf was portrayed as an old man, so he didn't seem too imposing to humans. Sauron took in the form of an elf.
Yeah.
Well, we know now in Rings of Power there's black elves anyway, so all rules are out the window that have been firmly established in Tolkien's universe, I guess, is the take home there, isn't it, really? Bloody bizarre. Yeah, very strange stuff. Frustrating to say the least, but never mind. Well, anyway, guys, should we get on to something a bit fun?
Yeah.
Let's fun it up.
A bit fun. Well, it's not that fun, but hey, whatever. It's a fun stinger anyway. I like that stinger.
Thank you.
So, what's happened now? Scream 7 is a complete debacle. What's happened? The director, Christopher Landon, has quit. Apparently, he actually quit a long time ago. When did he quit? Apparently, after Melissa Barrera got fired, because Melissa Barrera got fired actually significantly way before it was officially announced. So, it looks like there was about a 3-week crossover period, from what I can tell when I looked at this earlier, where the director I would assume was trying to get Melissa Barrera back on board the project, but Jenna Ortega left before everyone, and now Scream 7's got no one. What a shit show! So what's the story in Balamory? Let's get to it. So the director tweeted this out. Says, "I guess now is as good a time as any to announce I formally exited Scream 7 weeks ago. This will disappoint some and delight others. It was a dream job that turned into a nightmare, and my heart did break for everyone involved, everyone. But it's time to move on. I have nothing more to add to the conversation other than I hope Wes's legacy thrives and lifts above the din of a divided world. What he and Kevin created is something amazing, and I was honored to have even the briefest moment basking in their glow. But wait, there's more. So, on November 21st, that's when Melissa Barrera was fired, right? And then after that, Jenna Ortega was announced that she was done. However, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter, Barrera actually got fired in October, in the early weeks of the conflict in the Middle East. And Ortega's exit was apparently way before, was actually before the SAG-AFTRA strike, but was not made public until last month.
Wow.
So I love how it was timed by the media to make it look like it was a reaction to the other chick getting fired.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. How funny that they framed it in that way. But apparently, so if you're looking at that, right? So was announced November 21st that Melissa Barrera was fired. He tweets out 7 weeks ago, right? 7 weeks ago, he left, which puts it before, which should, if I remember rightly, that puts it before 5 weeks ago was announced. The 21st was 5 weeks ago. I looked at this earlier. So 2 weeks before that, he quit, and then it was announced that she was fired. So I think it looks like he stayed on to try, for those 2 weeks or whatever, to try to get her to, or that 2 week, well, a few months actually, well, a month or so, to get her to stay on, and then he left, and then 2 weeks after that, the studio obviously was like, "Shit, we don't have the director now."
It was the studio. This is what I think happened. I think he went in and said, "It's either her or me. I go too," and the studio's like, "Well, adios."
Yeah, true.
That's what I think happened, true. To be honest with you,
true. What's hilarious about this is James Vanderbilt is the guy that's writing this and also the producer of it. So sources say that the writer was already contending with Ortega's loss and had been focusing the story on Barrera's character when she was then let go. And then he obviously had the creative partner in the director to shoulder the story, but now it's back to just no one. They don't have a director. The upside is now they got the money, they can afford Nev Campbell again now. They've got nothing, mate.
What's funny is when I was reading through this, right? Because you shot this to me a little while ago. I'm like going, this was never good. And as Tom pointed out, we got the story in dribs and drabs and not in the right order. And everybody just said, nah. Everybody noped out. It's over. Bye. I don't know if Scream. Do you think Scream survives this? I don't know. I think we're 6 maybe.
I think it will. I actually think it will. Genuinely, I think it will survive it. Well, I think it will survive it, and I think it will survive it because they've been made for peanuts, right? Absolutely,
they haven't gone straight to streaming level yet, but they're on their way quickly. Like, yeah, it's not a dead franchise, but it's dead in its initial form. That's for sure.
But they've been making quite good money, I think.
Yeah, that sixth one I think went down a little bit. Let's be real. The only reason the first
I hate them.
I know, but let's be real, because I think from my memory, right? If my memory serves, I keep calling it the second because technically to me, these are new movies. The Scream movies ended with Scream 4. When Wes Craven died, that was it. It's done. It's over. These new movies are like a new thing, kind of like the Star Wars sequel. Yeah. And that's what I was going to compare it to. Scream, whatever the hell it was called. It was just called Scream, guys. That's the problem too.
Yeah.
5 or whatever. That made like almost, what was it, $200 or $300 million at the box office. I know the sixth one made like, I think 100 million less. I remember right.
Yeah.
So in this case, you had like the Force Awakens kind of thing with that first film. Everybody's like, oh, you got the original cast back. I want to go see this. A lot of people were turned off by the story. Like the whole idea of the original killer having a kid, and then now they're kind of trying to turn them into an anti-hero kind of. It was a fucking convoluted mess. The sixth one, some people were like, yeah, at least it was a step up from the last one, but I just don't think enough people went to see it in the theater. This thing has been clearly in development hell, or whatever you want to call it, for months now because of all the turmoil behind the scenes. The last film, they lost Neve Campbell because she wanted more money than they were willing to pay her. Well, at this point, what have you got left? That's the next thing I see. They're going to get a new director, a new writer. They're going to try and woo Neve Campbell to come back because that's all they got left. So at this point, it's literally one step away from being straight to video.
But the writer's staying. He's staying. Vanderbilt's
well,
staying
regardless, they're going to write a new script because you've lost both your main characters.
We lost everybody. I mean,
they can still get Neve Campbell back. They just got to write a big check to her because that's the only thing that's going to save this franchise at this point. I'll tell you right now, that's what I do. Of course, I wouldn't have got him into this mess in the first place. But what else can you do at this point?
Just creatively reboot this. Wouldn't that be the wiser? If you were,
I would have left it alone, but Paramount can't.
There's that issue that there's an issue with one of the words you've just used there, culture. And I will forgive you for being naive, okay? But Hollywood has no fucking creativity, so they can't creatively reboot it.
Okay, you're right.
Okay,
you're right.
God damn.
I know. I'm sorry. I slipped back to a decade
talk about it every week.
Make shit. I'm sorry.
Their best bet is to pay a big check to Neve Campbell, get her butt back in there.
Do you think
she's a draw, though?
But you think
she's all they got left?
But do you have to have her back if it's a great story and it's done okay and they get back to what the movie should be like? I mean, seriously. I mean, what's the difference between having her in a bad, shitty script with it gets a big paycheck, or we get someone else that is awesome and amazing and has a freaking great movie behind it? You know what I mean?
Mike, you're going to get chastised just like I did, thinking
what?
You think they can?
Well, you're oversimplifying the lack of creativity that Hollywood clearly has. I mean, good script, Mike. When did you last see a good script? I mean, I'd love to know it.
I don't know.
And was it from a major Hollywood studio or a major
about 10 or 11
property?
years ago? All right.
Well, there we go then. Now, come on.
And I got to correct myself. Scream 6 did do a little bit better than Scream 5, but then again, Scream 5 was released during the pandemic and simultaneously in theaters and on streaming, and it just barely did a little bit better. So
yeah, but they are money earners, so they will try.
Oh yeah, they'll keep going with them. They're not going to stop. And that's what I was saying is because Paramount just spent a bunch of money on the Dimension movies and Miramax movies. This is the only franchise they got. Like, if you not noticed, they're not doing it. What do they got? Nothing. Scream's the only thing that had anything they could keep going with, basically. Yeah. And that's it. From Dusk Till Dawn and a few other things is what they got. And they can't really do anything with that without completely reestablishing that. So, yeah. And I don't even know if they can do that without help with maybe even Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino got to sign off too, for all I know on that. But yeah,
but just isn't it so funny? Literally, like before the strike even happens, Jenna nopes out. She's like, "Nah, Wednesday's clearly better."
I'm kind of not surprised. It's a little beneath her now, right? She's hit that point where
she wasn't a star.
Exactly, like she's done her scary movie time. 2 is enough for me, she said.
Well,
that's
I also think.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? Curtis did with Halloween 1 and 2. After 2, she's like, "Peace out."
And she's just got this thing that the Tommy Lee Jones movie that's fresh, right?
That's why she couldn't do Scream. Supposedly, she had a conflict with another thing she already signed up for, and they clearly didn't have her contracted. That's another thing. Yeah. Clearly, Paramount must have only had her contracted for 2 movies or 1 at a time, and they didn't have her on contract for part 3 because she's like, "Peace out."
Why does?
Otherwise, they could have invoked it.
I wonder how much they were paying her.
Probably not much.
Well, no, you say that because between 1 and 2, her star rose. If she wasn't,
she probably made a little bit more for 2. You're right. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, I wonder what.
Well, there wasn't enough money to pay Neve Campbell for part 2 or the 6th one, whatever you want to call it. So yeah,
exactly. I know, like, I don't think people were going to watch them for Melissa Barrera anyway.
No, I didn't even know her fucking name until she was booted. Like, I knew who she was as far as her character, but I wouldn't have been able to tell you her name. And I knew everybody who was going to see those was because of for Jenna Ortega. That's
what I was about to say. Jenna Ortega is a rare thing in this day and age where she appears to have actual star power. People will go to watch something she's in because it's Jenna Ortega.
Most people are like, oh, I know they suck, but I love Jenna Ortega. That's what I heard from a lot of people. And it's like, it doesn't mean you should still go reward these movies for existing.
No, that's true. That is very true. Well, look,
yeah, we'll see.
It's completely up shit's creek. It's completely destroyed. What do we think? What's the over and under? Is it going to work? Is it not? Who's your pick? I mean, you think Neve Campbell is going to come back?
I think that's the best chance they got right now, because as far as I know, she's the only one left alive. So,
Mike, you're not a YouTuber. What do you think?
Ha 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 ha.
And I did hear a rumor, actually, not before Mike goes. On that note, that they did reach out to her and Patrick Dempsey.
And what happened?
Oh, God.
They haven't heard yet, but Patrick Dempsey was her love interest in part 3, and we would assume that that's who she got married to. So it might go back to more of the roots. But anyway, Mike, you were about to say, sorry.
Well, look, I mean, if they're going for nostalgia member berries, then yeah, bring back Neve Campbell. And you know what? Nate's right. The odds of getting a good script are probably slim to none. But you got to go off of star power, and at least that actor's got notoriety.
You get those two, that's a big deal.
It just baffles me. Like when I hear like Paramount didn't have her under contract, I'm like, Paramount just consistently seems to mismanage every freaking IP it ever gets its hands on, whatever that is, whatever genre. It just astounds.
They probably had her for 2, Mikey, and that's probably why they got her for so cheap for the second film.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's definitely.
I don't know what she got paid. I'm just saying, we don't know what her contract was, but my guess is they probably signed him on for 2 movies.
Well, I mean, they don't develop talent in Hollywood anymore. They don't even locate talent anymore. They bring people in that aren't even in Hollywood to act in films.
But then again, Neve wasn't only signed on for 1 more. So again, we don't know. You might be right, Mike. They probably were so stupid they didn't have their contracts in order for these movies. With these casts,
ridiculous.
Like business wise, it just seems completely just dumb.
I mean, if you're going to reestablish the Scream franchise, the first thing I would have done was got the 3 main cast that was left, got them under contract, and I wouldn't have killed any of them in the first fucking film.
Right.
And then, get them at least for 2-3 movies. And then if you're whatever your new characters, then you get them under contract as well. Because then you've got at least a trilogy out of this at this point. And that's the only way Paramount's going to make any money. And now they've kind of shot themselves in the foot because it's going to be another 1.5 years or better before they get another movie out. So it's going to be 2025, 26 before we see Scream 7 or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Might be like Scream 1 again. They're going to straight reboot the whole bloody thing. Who knows?
That's the other option. And I think that's where Culture was going with it. And that's where you completely start. And I don't think that's going to roll over too well with people. Because they kind of did that with the MTV series. And that was constantly trying to find its footing. And it had a little bit of an audience. But I think they changed so many times between seasons that it lost its audience. And then... with the newer films, the reason that people went back to see them, I would say, first of all, was just because Neve Campbell and, Courtney Cox and David Arquette were in that 5th film. But then a lot of people love Jenna Ortega. That's why they came back for part 6. Without her, I think they're screwed. I don't think a reboot is I think the only option here is what I said. But you never know. They could wait a couple of years and just totally reboot it. Culture could be right.
True.
But I don't know if the time is right for that.
I think they're going to want to keep churning it out as well. So
they will, but it's going to be bad timing is my point. You need to Scream should come along again when we hit a point where we know slasher movies are going out of style again. They're just kind of coming back in vogue. Like, why would you want to do a Scream movie when they're just coming back in vogue? I mean, well,
because they completely missed the point of Scream. That's why they didn't get it.
No, well, the whole industry didn't get the point of Scream, and that's why we got Scream clones for years.
Yeah, and that destroyed horror, which is a whole other conversation.
It did. Yeah. And as Andre and I will point out many times over, but the main issue is that you had a bunch of characters who are supposed to be smarter than the movies, but they're still making all the same mistakes.
Yeah. Dumb. But it'll be fun to see where this goes.
Horseradish power, I think, has another third option.
Well, yeah, the chat's been on fire on this subject. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a third option.
7, have Ghostface be a literal ghost.
It's like, at this point, fuck it.
Might as well.
That way you can bring back Stu.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard. It's a scream.
We got one from Richard Curtis as well for £10, and it says they should rework their current script into a brand new slasher, probably a killer based on the Mona Lisa. Put Scream 7 on the back burner until they can get some people back, say 5 years or so.
Maybe.
I don't think they will.
I mean, the problem with Scream is you're invested in the people, right? Like, that's the difference between Scream and other horror films. It's a lot of those guys, you want them to get hacked off. You don't really give a shit about them. You care about those characters. Like, Dewey, that really bothered me, right? The way he went out and by the character who did it, it's just like, really? He deserved better than that. So he got totally Han Solo'd in that movie. So you have a problem there. And that's where I didn't like that film, because that film said that the fans were the problem because they can't get beyond the first movie. And that's where I got in an argument with a few people. And I said, no. That is not true. Fans care about continuity, right? Like, our reaction to the Duel of the Fates script tells you that. It's like, look, that movie, what it could have been great? No, but it was better than what we had gotten. It at least took what had came before and worked with it. 9 times out of 10, people don't care as long as you're not like That's where the Halloween franchise went off the rails. Do you realize that there's 5 different timelines in that franchise? If you count the Rob Zombie movies, and the Halloween 3 is a separate timeline. Yeah.
But see, Tom, I'm going to push back a little bit on a script versus a film, because we all know that things get saved in the edit and things get shifted around, during the course. So it's possible Duel of Fates, that script could have been good film. We just will never know. But that's you make the perfect point. We care about continuity. We care about lore. We care about the things that we care about. You, as a studio, you don't get to pick the things the audience cares about. You don't even know if they're gonna care about a film. It's something that's brand fresh, out there, new. You don't get to pick that. You get to make the best possible movie you can, with the best story you can buy, and put the best people you can in front and behind the camera. That's all you can control as a studio. You don't get to tell the fans or any consumer what they care about. Your product either is appealing in the marketplace or it isn't, and that's with everything, whether it be cinema, television, a T-shirt, a hat. It doesn't matter.
Well, and horror fans are the easiest to please, and they're also the easiest to take advantage of. Sad.
That's true.
And,
very true.
We see it on endless cycles. Yeah.
Olaf Varnes for €6 says creativity's been dead 7+ years. All we get is the message wrapped in nostalgia to try and subvert the current culture and push this woke ideology. And I would absolutely agree with that. Which takes us off nicely to thanking our epic moderator here, our great wrench, Olaf. Thank you so much, chap. Does a great job here on your favorite podcast, ladies and gents. So massive shout out to Olaf. Let's put some O's in the chat for Olaf. I want a sea of O's. I want a wall of O's. All right?
You hear that? Mr. H wants to see your O face.
Rather not. Rather not. We have a distinct lack of feminine energy in my comment on this YouTube channel. So, alas, I would
There's
not
your
like
O's.
see,
there they come.
the O faces.
The O's are coming. The O's are coming.
Females, then perhaps. But anyway, there you go. So there's the O's for Olaf. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it. There's the chat saying how much they love you. And anyway, drifting in real quick, we got this from Corey Smith for $5. Says, have y'all saw that World Star vid where this black bully was fighting his target's ma and sister? Oh, and does Kong bust it in the leaks?
Okay, I don't know about the first part. What do you mean by busted in the leaks? Do you mean he died? Does he die? Because I know the answer to that, but I'm not going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I know the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't he doesn't bust a nut. That's not his son.
No, well,
if that's what you're talking about.
Technically, it's not. It's like an adopted kid, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah, so it's not. Yeah, can't reveal straight up spoilers. Guys,
yeah, we'll get in trouble probably.
Without prior warning and stuff.
I did do a stream on that. And I think you have a video too on it, right, Mr. H?
No, Legendary took it down.
Oh, they did. They didn't come after me yet, so they will though.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh no, he does mean bust the nut.
Oh well, so no, I asked the same question and I didn't get a
straight
straight answer other than basically that it's kind of an
orphan.
Yeah,
it's absolutely not his son. So but
it will be King Kong eventually.
But yeah, there you go. Less said about that, the better, simply because Legendary are wankers sometimes. Wow. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? To something that I thought was quite funny.
I want a punk rock girlfriend.
Oh, this is what I was talking about earlier. I saw your video, Nate.
Superman Legacy director James Gunn rumored to be cast as Supergirl, who's humorous with punk rock edginess. What the fuck?
He's making a Spider-Verse Supergirl. That's what he's doing.
I've been saying this in videos a little bit recently, and I stand by this. Stop making stuff for this mythical modern audience that doesn't exist. We've got to upgrade it for a modern audience, and then fucking no one watches it. There is no modern audience, you bunch of morons. What is this? Just bizarre. Now, this is rumor at this point in time from a pretty good source, though. And I'll say this, Reddit. Reddit is actually a very good source for leaks. Sometimes, do you remember that Disney and Marvel basically subpoenaed Google to get Reddit? I think they subpoenaed Google to get Reddit to force them, or to force Google to get Reddit to give them the names and details of the people that leaked everything to do with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Right.
So leaks from Reddit can be highly reliable. But anyway, there's a rumor posted by the DCEU Leaks moderators, and they say, although we reported that casting would be finalized by a director for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, we've now heard that this is not the case. Gunn will cast Supergirl. Now, he's going to cast her because who's going to be in Superman Legacy? Everyone. Even Supergirl is now.
This is the same fucking mistake Zach made. God damn it, Jimmy.
So, and it is said, right? So, basically, take on Supergirl will be humorous with a punk rock edginess, and she'll also have a toughness that comes after witnessing the death of her home planet, Krypton, as a child.
They're trying to do the Barbie thing.
Dog shit, quite frankly. I think this sounds lame.
No, I would call bullshit if it wasn't for the Brave and the Bold stuff they already announced. But now, isn't this supposed to be based on a specific version of Supergirl?
Who cares? It's not the one that we want or need.
Crypto the Superdog is even going to be in as a key part of Supergirl's story.
Of course he is.
What is going on?
James Gunn sucks, which is what I've said since day one.
I'm with Tom. He is kitchen sinking the shit out of this, and it's going to sink the whole freaking reboot. I don't want everybody in a Superman movie. I want Superman in a Superman movie.
I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong because I was rooting for him.
I know you were. You were rooting for him since day one, and I was not. I may have gotten it wrong about Tenet and RTD, but I have not been. Not 1 minute did I ever say I like James Gunn and what he's going to do going forward. You know what? Because I said it then, and I'll say it now, and I just haven't said it on this channel. What we need in the DC universe, and I'm a DC guy more than Marvel, even though it's Mexican Iron Man is my moniker on YouTube, though I am not a YouTuber. The fact of the matter is, I grew up as a DC Comics collector. Or that stack over there is mostly DC. The rack I have downstairs is mostly DC, and I'm a DC guy. And James Gunn needed to give us what we need. We need the Superman we want that we've been waiting for. We need the Batman done right, and we need justice. We need super characters that we need done right. We don't need him going after obscure takes on obscure characters and having his whimsical ways. Did I enjoy Peacemaker? Of course I did. It was fun, but it's whimsical and it's a side note and a side character, and it doesn't really matter. We need something that matters, and what we need most on this planet is we need truth, justice, the American way. We need the world united behind a Superman that we can all get behind, from the farthest reaches of Australia to the shores of the United States and everywhere in between. And James Gunn is incapable of delivering that, and we will not get it. But we're going to get Supergirl, like Nate said on his video. She's going to have a shaved head, and the hair's going to be over here, and it's going to have some like shaved thing, and she's going to look like Teela from freaking He-Man in the Universe from Kevin that I just got on Netflix last year.
That is my prediction, that she'll have an undershave. I bet you I'm right that she'll have an undershave.
I know you're right.
Like, guaranteed. Just seems to be the
so
thing
we're
now.
we're getting OnlyFans Supergirl.
Yes.
Lonely
Okay.
fans.
Lonely fans.
TM. Trademark.
That's right. Lonely Fans Supergirl coming your way. Lonely fans. How about Lonely Man?
There's
Lonely
just
Man
way too many people involved in this now. As well as the fact that, humorous. A lot of these things don't make any sense. She's going to be humorous with a punk rock edginess, and she's going to be tough as well. So, humorous but tough. What's she going to do? Crack a joke and then punch you in the face? Is that going to be the actual punchline? Like, what is it? Is she going to
she's not going to be defeated by kryptonite. She's going to be defeated by her emotional sensibilities and like the patriarchy, and how she's not seen as the same type of superhero as Superman. And
yeah.
It's going to be about
also,
her.
Why is she going to be in Superman Legacy? I mean, it's just too much.
I don't know. Maybe he's going to have his wife play her like he does everything else.
No, because she still is cast in the new DCU as the same person she was before.
Oh, that's right.
Because Peacemaker's in that universe now somehow, randomly. Doesn't make any fucking sense. What a shit show this is. Tom, you've stayed very quiet.
Yeah, because he likes James Gunn.
I don't understand this. I don't understand why he's recasting all this stuff. I never say he was my boy. I just feel like he was the only hope the MCU had. I never said that he was the right answer for the DCU, but I'm willing to give him a chance because I've seen more than just his Marvel films like most people have. And I've liked everything I've seen him do, but I said the same thing about Taika Waititi going into Thor Love and Thunder, so I'm prepared if he does do something stupid. At the same time, I hope it's just a shit rumor and it's not true, and we'll just have to wait and see what he's got in mind.
I think it's going to be true.
I'm with Nate. There's a surprising amount of things that come out on Reddit that are accurate. I'm just saying.
Culture, final thoughts, mate? Close us out on this.
Unsubscribe from DC if this is true.
There you go.
I mean, I can see it in a Barbie / Spider-Verse sense that they'd want to go for a young crowd with this thing. But
actually, you know
it's
what?
A bad move.
If they put Brie Larson in it,
for God's sake,
I'd go see it.
Oh, stop.
I want to know how they're going to cover up those gunboat of the feet that she's walking around in. Supergirl doesn't have snowshoe feet. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Oh my God. Well, she have a good rack in it anyway, in that tight outfit.
No, they're going to give her
the best racks in Hollywood, quite frankly.
Nah, man, it's going to be a punk rock girl.
Nah, man, she does have one of the best ranks in Hollywood.
Who?
Brie Larson.
Okay.
You disagreeing with that?
No, it's fine.
What do you mean it's fine?
It isn't going to be all.
I wonder how much it cost her.
It's
Who
not
cares?
all snugly close to her skin, dude. It's going to be a punk rock chick. It's going to be a very loose T-shirt, and like, no, that's not going to be it, bro. And she's going to be rocking some like Rose Tico like parachute pants or some shit. So you're going to have like, you know, Supergirl punk rock person. I'm not kidding.
No, I know the whole thing's just a joke anyway. To be fair, this thing's just. I think this is going to be dead. This is ridiculous. I don't understand it. Don't understand why there's so many people involved. It's obscene at this rate. And Mikey's rant, works massively, I think. But anyway, let's shuffle on now because we've got a very, very interesting thing to get to. I think, quite frankly. Now, I believe I'm the only one that's watched this movie on the panel. I don't think, Mike, have you watched Rebel Moon?
No, I'm trying to not do it.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I'm the only one that watched this because I apparently hate myself. So, you know, fuck myself, I guess. It is what it is, isn't it? I hate myself. So I watched this movie and I've done my review of it. I understand what they were trying to do. It just wasn't very good. And it's difficult to really without you guys having watched it. I mean, it's just me saying it, but take what I'm saying as true, right? The comparison to Star Wars actually isn't the Star Wars comparison isn't the most egregious comparison or the most egregious thing they ripped off. They ripped off pretty much the entirety of Warhammer 40k.
Wow!
So it's called the Imperium. You know, the Imperium of Man in Warhammer 40k. Well, in Zack Snyder's world, it's the Imperium. Yep. Just stretching out through the galaxy, claiming worlds. Yep. The Imperium. Yep. I mean, even down to the banners and the armor style. Yep. Imperium. Yep. Very much. Yep. Very much Marines. Yep. Very much down, even to the guns. Yep. Even to the robot called a Mechanicus. Yep. Mechanicus. Yep. Took that right out of it.
Can I give everybody like a news flash here real quick? Zack Snyder has never made an original film. In fact, the only two original films he's ever made were Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon. And I think it could be argued that those are so inspired by how many other genres. In fact, a lot of people thought his Army of the Dead was a sequel to his Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
that wasn't the case.
Well, I've got to interject real quick because it's important to note is that although I'm saying he's ripped off Warhammer, yes, Warhammer ripped off loads of other things. Warhammer was heavily inspired by 2000 AD.
I forgot Sucker 100%. Punch, but yeah, that's like anime shit.
Yeah, so it's heavily inspired. You know, Warhammer was heavily inspired by 2000 AD. But the problem is when you're ripping something off, you've got to be better than the thing you're ripping off.
Yeah.
You don't rip off something and produce a substandard product at all. Because then you're going to be compared to the thing you've just stolen from. And then it looks very, very terrible. Looks real bad. But anyway, the co-writer of this has come out and spoken about the negative reception as well as the derivative nature of the film. And it's comical. So it's in an interview with Variety, Kurt Johnstad was asked about the Star Wars comparisons, which I've sort of gone over and said that's not, massively accurate because it's derivative of other things. So he says it's impossible not to be compared to Star Wars. They're very different worlds. We're trying to do very different things. I have a great respect for George Lucas and everything he's done for the past 50 years. He's changed the shape of this entire town. So we can't say that we haven't been affected or haven't absorbed some of those lessons and cinematically those experiences. It'd be false. We'd be lying. The idea is giving off our own opportunity, just like George was a complete rebel in this town, an iconoclast. How can we do the same thing in our time? That isn't a written mandate, but it's just like, how can I write the most provocative, inspiring, interesting, twist and turn kind of story? George used Campbell's hero's journey, as did we. This is Cora's story, and she's at the heart of the movie. Well, wait fucking 1 second there, son. It's compared to Star Wars because in an interview, Zack Snyder literally came out and said, yeah, I pitched this as a Star Wars movie. So that's why it's being compared to Star Wars. You'd do well and you'd be wise to remember that. That's why it's being compared. Because it wouldn't be compared if that wasn't the case. Secondly, provocative, inspiring, interesting, twist and turn kind of story. The only twist and turns that happened was me twisting and turning in my chair, fucking bored as dog shit watching this thing. Honestly, provocative on the degree that I wanted. It was provoking me and my boredom so much that I wanted to turn the movie off. Inspiring, it inspired me to want to get up and turn the movie off. Interesting, yeah, it made me interested at looking at my phone at what else was going on in the world. The movie was poo.
Ouch.
Anyway, there you go.
Tough crowd.
And did you see that they're selling the director's cut of this now? They're trying to make people watch. They're trying to be like Zack Snyder's director's cut of Rebel Moon's a different movie. Yeah, I'm sure, because it's got a half hour of fucking slow-mo added to it. No one wants to watch that.
You think only a half an hour of slow-mo?
Oh, no, it's like an hour longer. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
And it's an R-rated movie.
So it's 45 minutes of slow-mo.
I don't care. There was no fighting in this bloody movie anyway. It was boring. Anyway, so he was asked about the negative reviews, right? And he goes, I don't read the reviews. I never have. You probably should. You'd be better. Critics have a job to do. We live in a democracy. Everyone gets to vote. If people watch the film, they'll have an experience and they will either enjoy it or they won't. It's flavors of ice cream. In my career of 20 years doing this, reviews have never equated to performance. A movie will either perform or it won't. People will either love it and be connected to it. And I think that's what this movie has, is an emotional drive and a core and characters that are vulnerable. You're not writing fucking... It's not Shawshank Redemption, mate.
Wow.
It's not Citizen Kane. And of course, there's sequence and action and visual. That's basically all it was. Sequence, action, and visual. There was no story. It's a magnificent looking film in parts. But I think that at the core of it, it's got emotion. Yeah, the emotion of me wanting to be angry and switch it off. There's an emotional engine and a currency that runs through the film that I think works. So I'd invite people to check it out. Right. The thing is, right, because people will go, well, they'll either see it or they won't. More people are going to be watching this movie because it's available for free. If you ask them to pay for this, they absolutely nowhere near as, nowhere near enough. Nowhere near as many people that have watched it now would watch it if you had to pay for it. They just wouldn't. People are watching this just because it's free. It's the only reason they're watching it. It is garbage. And I guess
even at 24 million, that translate to what? At roughly like $10 a film ticket. 24 million or no, 240
million. I don't know, because
they're saying that they're saying that it's
number one on Netflix worldwide or something like that.
I heard a lot of people checked out halfway through too.
Oh fucking hell! Did it ever? I watched half of it.
It took a few days to get up to number one.
Oh god, it was so boring. It was so boring.
That's what most people are saying. It's boring, and they quit watching it. Dreadful. Which was the same problem the Justice League Snyder cut had. What I was told.
I feel like an audience can only take so much, and because you're already at home, and because you're already watching a streaming service, and maybe keep your films shorter. Because you're going to miss out on the people finishing your film because it's so darn long. You
got to keep them hanging on, right? That's the other thing, too.
I mean, it's just easier to stop watching something and watch something better or different or whatever. I mean, eventually you'll find something good. You can go back and watch like reruns of Mad Men or go check out like, I don't know, the House of Cards, right? I mean, there's just better stuff out there that you could like fill your time with. If you're going to spend that many hours, that's like 3 episodes of freaking House of Cards, you know, and you'd be invested in a show. First of all, if you don't have enough story to fill 2 hours, you certainly don't have enough to fill 3 hours. And that's what Zach always seems to struggle with.
If you're already telling me that the 2-hour cut or whatever is boring or whatever it is, 2.5 hour cut, then I can't imagine how fucking boring the 4-hour cut's gotta be, right? Like, I mean, and I just saw Oppenheimer not too long ago, and there's no action in Oppenheimer. But you know what it is? It's a very engaging movie for 3 hours, and I know there's probably a lot of people who would agree with me in that respect. Now, and I can't even be bothered to sit here and watch this damn movie for all the reasons that you know, and I'm not going to go on some Zach rant. But at the end of the day, I'll leave it alone. It doesn't sound like this movie's boding very well. It took a huge dive on the Rotten Tomatoes viewer side of things. So the Snyder Bros haven't been able to keep it afloat above 75. It's already fallen to like 65 last I looked. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think anybody's going to be interested in the extra extended cut outside of that select group of people. Netflix has gone all in on this shit for some reason.
I think they really did.
I think they got conned.
Money to get with them.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, 24 million views compared to what does some of their other stuff get? I'm trying to think.
Well, I mean, we see them on. Wednesday got insane viewership on the news.
That's what I was curious. Like, what in comparison? Like,
I have no idea. It was a lot.
Yeah,
it was a lot. To be fair. Yeah, Wednesday.
150 million. Yeah. So like, 24 million. Yeah. Sure.
So.
Yeah. That big hit for Netflix. Yeah.
What did you say? Sorry, how much was it?
I said 100. I saw 150 million households watched Wednesday.
Well,
24 million is what I saw for the number that watched supposedly for this weekend for Rebel Moon. But that doesn't tell you how many people actually watched the whole thing or not.
Good point.
Well, Wednesday season 1 had 252.
I was just looking at like the first few days or whatever. Yeah, in comparison. Yeah. So total, I don't know, but
no, that's only a few days as well.
Yeah, oh, there you go. So that was even after what I looked for.
I don't know.
I think I looked up the first 4 days or whatever it was.
I don't. Look, if it only inspired one of us to watch it during our holiday break, what does that tell you?
Oh God, it's the worst Christmas gift as well to myself. I really hate myself for watching that.
Mikey, you're a Snyder bro.
No, I am a recovering Snyderaholic, and I am now in treatment, and I am on the road to recovery.
Okay.
I used to be a Snyder bro ho.
Okay.
All right. Well, there you go. I thought we'd enjoy that, and we can shuffle on now to something equally as bad. Actually, quite frankly, I know people will be surprised to say that. Oh no, actually, we've got. Hey, what's this? Someone starred this from Sci-Fi Quest. ChatGPT. Please rewrite my Star Wars script as a 300 Dune Warhammer Lord of the Rings Star Wars result. That is funny.
That's a good one.
Well, what's even funnier is from the synopsis, if you read it, it's not so much a Star Wars clone as it is a Battle Beyond the Stars clone, which was a Star Wars ripoff to begin with.
Think about how many times we heard that, Tom. I mean,
I know.
I'm like, of course, and I'm like, okay, but
I mean, it's arguably the best of the Star Wars clones, but
if I were gonna compliment Kathleen Kennedy on anything, it would be that she turned down this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, true.
Well, what did I say? How bad does it have to be that even Kathleen Kennedy said nope?
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. But
because we knew it was going to have a Whammon who was the key to everything and all that, and that's the thing I noticed all these people posting is these videos of this little tiny chick kicking the shit out of these 250 to 300 pound men. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, let's. That was just something that sort of dropped in at the end there. I want to move on to this now. It's an interesting one.
No.
Apparently.
No.
But apparently. Yeah, this was not on my bingo card.
Get me out of here.
Except
yeah, I'm surprised they went with this. I'd expect them to go with a Legend remake before this. You know? Wouldn't you? This is like almost untouchable, right?
I said this was coming. I had been told this was coming. I'm not.
Well, they were talking about a sequel a while back, but I never thought that they try to do a remake.
Yep.
Well, director Scott Derrickson recently confirmed that a direct sequel to Jim Henson's Labyrinth was still in development, but it sounds like a remake reboot may also be in the works.
What?
Apparently. So this is what Derrickson said in a recent interview. We never got the script all the way to a place where the studio wanted to make it, but I was very proud of the work that we did on it.
So that version's dead. Okay.
And it's a hard project to turn into something commercially viable because it's so imaginative and surreal that there's no way that it can be done cheaply. And at the same time, it's so daring and different that it is a tough movie for a studio to feel competent that it has enough commercial value to earn a profit. So I think that it's a tough nut to crack. But all I can tell you is I'm very proud of the work that we did on it. We certainly had a great film in mind. That sounds very much past tense, like it's dead. So when asked if the plan was to cast another actor as Jareth, the Goblin King, in the wake of the legendary David Bowie's passing, Derrickson declined to go into too much detail, but he did say they had a really cool idea. Again, had, all very past tense by the sounds of it. Now, Daniel Richtman is reporting that Mike Flanagan is in talks to direct a Labyrinth remake for TriStar. There's a chance both these projects are one and the same, but this is all. That's basically that. That's it. That is it. That's.
They have to have this done just so they don't lose the copyright. Probably.
It absolutely would be, isn't it? So Mike Flanagan, all of the House of Usher, Midnight Mass, things like that. I don't know. What do we think?
Piss poor idea. Dumb idea.
Boo.
I wasn't even too keen on the sequel idea, but at least with the sequel idea, if you get Jennifer Connelly and Brian Henson involved, you could set up like maybe a Son of Jareth kind of situation or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And that's probably what what's his face was going to do, I bet. But that being said, no, I do not want to. I don't think anybody wants a reboot. Period. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. This is just creative bankruptcy.
You can't replace David Bowie.
And I'll tell you, as far as the commercial viability, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about there. Because there is one movie that's been released on DVD and Blu-ray many, many times over by Sony, besides Ghostbusters, and that is Labyrinth. I have, I think, 5 copies myself. There was at least 2 or 3 different DVDs. There's been a Blu-ray, 2 different 4K releases of it. Like, this is a very popular film.
Do you think it would have that much commercial viability though if it was?
It has popularity, but I don't think anybody's going to want to see a sequel of it. It didn't do very well at the box office. See, that's the thing. People don't remember that, but it didn't. What it did do is get a huge audience on cable and video, and now it has a cult following, a lot because of Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie specifically. But it's also just, it found its audience later on down the road. And I don't think that audience is going to be very accepting of either at this point, especially now that Bowie's gone. I don't think they want it. But from what I remember hearing about what's-his-face's take was Derrickson's take on it was basically, it was going to be Jennifer Connelly's daughter or something like that gets sucked into the labyrinth, and then there's the son of Jareth or whatever, and she was supposed to be trying to get her daughter out or whatever, and it's all kind of it was a sequel. It was a legacy sequel or whatever you want to call it, but no, I'd rather see a legacy sequel or series than I would a fucking reboot. And at that point,
but that didn't work out so well for Willow, though, did it, mate?
No, it didn't. That's what I'm saying. So it's both. In both cases, I'm not really keen on either idea. this is one of those movies that just should be left alone. Period.
I think this is an awful idea. I'm sick and tired of Hollywood going backwards and trying to finagle. We need to move forward. And I think with Bowie gone, this is just an atrocious idea.
Culture.
You cannot remake this movie. There are certain movies you cannot remake.
They've got the rights.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are certain films you could never hope to improve upon. You couldn't even hope to match. This is one of those. Again, it's the same thing we were screaming and yelling about with Willow. You can't, first of all, this is a niche product. Another niche product coming to you from a Henson-related situation. Do not try to do this. You could certainly have tried to make the sequel. What was described to Tom and clearly to me was something that could have worked, but with a child in peril or a grandchild in peril, we could have certainly bought that as a sequel, right? If not a direct one that was tangentially related. Remaking this product, even if it's an entirely standalone thing outside, it's not going to work out for anybody. Again, I said, and I meant it, you can't replace David Bowie as the Goblin King. You can't replace you can't replace all the iconic puppetry. You would have to basically recreate all those creations in a way that they could pass in the high fidelity film environment we're in now.
I kept just the second releases.
Well, Jim Henson can do that. Jim Henson Company can do that. They do great work
the Creature Workshop is purely capable of that. You're 100% right, but the charm of the film originally is in everything that was around it, and a certain amount of camp.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they can. They can't even get any form of nuance together, let alone camp today in modern film.
I mean, just be straight up gay, wouldn't it? Basically.
Yeah.
That's what it would be.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Well, there you go. I thought we'd enjoy that. Obviously, not really, but still. Never mind. Thought we'd enjoy looking at that. Horseradish Power drops in with £2. Says now waiting for a Mirror Mask remake. Oh, there you go. Tom Chernoff.
This is the second DVD of it. So this isn't even the first release.
Show off.
This is the second Blu-ray release. This is the 30th anniversary. So this would have been the 20th. There was a 25th anniversary that I don't even have a version of. And the original DVD release. And then here's the 35th anniversary release, which is released on 4K. So yeah, and they go all out for these, right? Like, I mean, this is like it feels like leather kind of thing. And it's a book. It's even different than the other book I already have. So there you go. I mean, they've gone out of their way every time for this movie. This is one that, as I said, probably has had more releases and treated better than Ghostbusters, which is Sony's movie ever outside of Spider-Man. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's shuffle on.
Hardly.
So not technically first look, but it's another look at Joker 2 Folie à Deux. I've been a big proponent of this film. I am quite excited for it, to be fair. I know a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are like, it's a musical. Yeah, I get that. But I trust Todd Phillips. He did a great thing with the first movie, and music played an important role in that film. So I trust him, to be fair. He's done some great stuff over the years. So yeah, like he's earned my cautious optimism, quite frankly. Whereas a lot of film studios, directors, etc., definitely don't earn my optimism at all. But yeah, Todd Phillips does. So we got some new images released. I shared this over on Instagram. So he shared them yesterday. So what, Christmas Day, wishing everyone a happy holiday and a beautiful new year. October 2024, Joker 2. So we got this image here, which isn't the full image. I think it's cropped it a little bit. So yeah, weirdly it's cropped it. So you can see this is an Arkham Asylum. He's in Arkham Asylum E258. It's a cool image. It's nice. Looks good. Weird cropping. They're not quite understanding what's going on there. This one's not cropped. And then we've got this. So this is Joker presumably in court with Harley Quinn. And I say presumably in court because what you can see in the background here looks like a court painting, court, wooden walls.
That or it's the night he was processed, maybe.
Well, yeah, the thing is, we've seen
a cop shop.
Well, we've seen some.
But leaks. I see the guy standing back there, so you're right. That's probably the bailiff. Yeah, you're probably right.
It looks like a bailiff.
Yeah. But so we've seen some leaks where she's going to court and he's going to court.
Right.
Now, what I'm quite excited for about this movie is the deep play on what's real and what's not. So there was some leaked videos actually of several actors, 3 actors, each dressed as different versions of the Joker. And they're all sort of, Arthur Fleck, normal, another Joker, and then another Joker sort of all running around together, being chased together and stuff. It was really weird, but it looked like it was him having like another psychotic break, basically. It wasn't, they were supposed to be exactly the same person, and they weren't supposed to be different people. They were like body doubles of Joaquin Phoenix and stuff. So I think a lot of this is quite interesting, and I'm personally quite excited for this film. And just overall, I like what they're doing with it. I mean, this framing's fantastic. So even from a cinematography perspective, I think this will be a very good looking film. But I wanted to check this in here because whenever I do a video on this, I think it's interesting to see the sort of outrage that people have about it. Because there was initial outrage when the Joker was originally announced. And there seems to be outrage every time there's a Joker announced. And I get that. But then the Joker came out and I think blew most people away. So I always find it interesting when I do a video on this to see the outrage for this. But what do we all think? What's our thoughts? The floor is yours.
Culture. I think this is going to be interesting. I'm going to give it a shot. I'll be there on opening day or for a preview screening or whatever, as early as I can see it. It's, got some musical elements to it. I don't know that it's a pure musical. I think that we're going to get some really interesting insight into Harley Quinn's, inner workings of her brain. I think that's kind of where all that is probably going to reside. I think Tom's right. He was the one who made that summation, I think, early on. The visuals are perfect. I mean, if Todd Phillips sticks with the way he shot the first film, I'm on board for it. Originally I had a negative take of this, but the more I see, the more I'm like, all right, well, they're reinvesting in the same world or diving deeper into it or his state of mind. And I think that'll be rather interesting. They turned these images and some other things I've heard about the film as if turned me around on this second film. I didn't think you could pull lightning from a bottle twice. Maybe I was wrong.
Go on, Mikey.
When I heard it was going to be a musical, I had a pulmonary episode on the Midnight's Edge After Dark with Tom. However, like Culture, as more information has come out about the film, I've been less reactionary and more open-minded. I've also had the opportunity to rewatch this movie, rewatch the first Joker again. I saw it in the theaters twice. I loved it so much when it came out. I came back. I literally paid money and watched it again 2 days later. I saw it on a Friday night and went back and saw it on a Sunday afternoon. But I'm with you, Nate. I think he did a phenomenal job with the first one, and I'm going into this open mind, and I will be there on the preview screening night for sure.
Go on, Tom. Suck it to me, bro.
I will jump off of what Culture said. And I think some of the musical stuff or most of the musical elements will probably be about Harley's descension into madness. And as like the first film was kind of an unreliable narrator, you're going to have the same thing here with either both characters or through Harley's interpretation. And I think this movie will probably take a lot of inspiration from New York, New York.
Okay, yeah.
Because that was the musical that Scorsese directed. And I thought it was kind of weird that Todd Phillips, I think it was, had commissioned, I can't remember the artist's name, but he did Boss Logic, I think it was, who does all those art things, and he did the La La Land poster. and then I come across this poster for New York, the musical, and take a look.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so I think that's probably what's going to happen. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't
can
be
see that.
surprised. And you know, Lady Gaga being in it, like her, hate her, she was big in that Star is Born. I can see that's why they're going after her. So yeah, I think you just replace kind of like the nightclub business in New York with New York with the asylum side of things. And they might throw in another movie in the mix too, because the first movie was basically Taxi Driver meets the Jerry Lewis one, or Robert Downey Jr. one, Robert De Niro one that he did with where he's a comedian. What the hell was it called? King of Comedy, right?
Yeah.
So he'll probably mix like two movies in this one too. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised. So we'll see. It'll be curious to see when the trailer comes out what two movies those are. But
so then the musical elements might end up contributing to the storytelling by taking us into that psychosis psychology of it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that idea, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I don't know. I think this has got a lot of positives. I'll be intrigued to see it. And you got to remember, this is something that Zaslav came in was like, why the fuck haven't we made a sequel to this? Boom, done, green light, go straight away when he came in.
I just want something to be good. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have so little in the hopper next year. I want this to be good.
I hope so too. So real quick, ladies and gents, if you could hit subscribe on the second channel, which you'll find linked down below in the description box, called Missed H Reviews Live Archives. We've got like 800 people here, 750, 800 people. Obviously, a lot of people didn't come in at the start, so you would have missed quite a lot of stuff. So if you head down there, hit subscribe, you'll find all of the clips to each kind of topic and things like that, some of the super chats, etc. But you'll also find in a playlist all of the stream episode, because this will be unlisted when we sort of go off the air, but that's where they go from now on. That's where they live. So hit subscribe down there. And I will say as well, please do hit subscribe on everyone's channels linked down below here. So Culture Casino of Culture Casino, Tom of Midnight's Edge After Dark, Mexican Iron Man of Mexican Iron Man,
Midnight's Edge
of Midnight's Edge.
He's our CFO.
He also has his own YouTube channel.
Please do give me a follow over on. Please do give me a follow over on Twitter and Instagram at Missed H Reviews. But what I'll say now, real quick, Culture, plug some stuff, take it home, let's go.
You bet. Okay, check out 6 Minute Daily every weekday. I do a 6-minute bit, which is about 12 minutes long, of all the news that is fit to follow for that particular day. I save you a bunch of time. Usually it's covered in much greater detail and depth by someone like Mr. H or Midnight's Edge After Dark, et cetera, et cetera. You can also check me out on many other channels, mostly on your favorite podcast, the H Cast, where we are about to go bigger here soon. Very excited.
We are. Big things coming next year. Ladies and gents, real big things coming. Tom, what's going on with you?
Well, we're about 40 minutes out from Midnight's Edge After Dark, so do click the link in the description below to find the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you subscribe. We'll be live in about 40 minutes.
There you go. Mexican Iron Man, plug some stuff, dude.
Well, meet is starting in 35 minutes, and let's see. London Heathrow is only $825 round trip this spring.
There you go. Do it, mate. Come on by. We'll try and get a movie in or something.
We should stack up some events. That'd be fun.
Should actually, to be fair. But like I said, guys, the bigger this show gets, the sort of higher potential chance we can do an in-person podcast for you, and that is what we want to do in 2024. Trying to get some preliminary things together for that. In the coming weeks, things will be changing ever so slightly in terms of bringing in Streamlabs as a way for you guys to tip and interact with us with text-to-speech and things like that. So that will come in soon, very, very soon, because YouTube takes 30% of what you send us, which is a lot of money. That's a lot that disappears to YouTube for no reason. So we will be bringing in Streamlabs at some point very soon. And yeah, thank you very much for spending your time with us here on your favorite podcast on this Tuesday. You could have been anywhere, but you're choosing to spend it with us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And once again, everyone's channel's linked down below. Please do hit subscribe. It does mean a lot to me and them, of course. We will catch you on Thursday for another show starting at 7 p.m. UK time. You guys know the drill. It's a little bit earlier on a Thursday, and we'll rock it with you then. So we'll catch you Thursday, but thank you so much from me and everyone else. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.